Support for the Lancast is provided by Winey Way Books and Pennsylvania College of Art and Design.
Welcome to the Lancast. I'm David Moulton.
And I'm Keith Slesser. On this episode, Chris Newcomer shares his 15-year journey to starting BigPlanetApparel.
This journey really did take 15 years for Chris. It all started in 8th grade when his teacher took interest in his future.
I was one of the kids that was going to be a slacker, so I think my school kind of knew that, and they decided that more of a technical education was going to be where I was going to go in high school. So a couple guys came down from the high school to where I was at in junior high, and they said, "Oh, this is graphics class. We get to print T-shirts. We get to, sit in front of Macintosh computers, just have a good time. Teacher's really cool." And that was kind of the start of the interest.
We also learned about Chris's commitment to being as eco-friendly as possible.
I decided I burned myself really bad, and I decided I know that there's other stuff out there. I know that there's stuff that's protect me and it's better for everybody. So I found some stuff from a company, from one of my suppliers, and surprisingly to me, that stuff wasn't a whole lot more expensive. I think it's actually maybe even a little bit cheaper now for me to use the stuff that's better for the environment, and I don't burn myself at all. I mean, they can go in kind of goggle free.
Enjoy the conversation. Hi Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks, happy to be here.
So tell us a little bit about the journey that brought you to BigPlanetApparel.
Well, that is quite a story. It all started in 8th grade. I was one of the kids that was going to be a slacker, so I think my school kind of knew that, and they decided that more of a technical education was going to be where I was going to go in high school. So a couple guys came down from the high school to where I was at in junior high, and they said, "Oh, this is graphics class. We get to print T-shirts. We get to sit in front of Macintosh computers, just have a good time. Teacher's really cool." And that was kind of the start of the interest, where I was like, yeah, I think that's what I want to do. And I just remember, like, in 8th grade, like, yeah, that's a class I was going to take. And then I forgot about it till 9th grade. And then when 9th grade rolled around, I was doing the I took those classes. I took all the graphics classes. I took screen printing and pre-press, and even digital printing, I think, was kind of the start of that as well. And I started with that and really just kind of fell in love with it in high school. Just started printing my own T-shirts, doing 311 and POD T-shirts till 9th period, and then they'd kick me out. So that was kind of really where I got on board with it, fell in love, and just really enjoyed printing T-shirts, because you could make your own thing and have everything just be really cool. So after high school, I graduated and said, "Here I am, world," and the world didn't say anything back. So I was like, well, just back up the money truck, and because here I am. It's funny how that didn't work out so well.
Got T-shirts.
Right.
Say things on them.
I got this one. It's got a hole in it. It's fun. So
look, it's a T-shirt that's already torn.
Some Hollister action before Hollister was a thing. So I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew that I really enjoyed graphic design, desktop publishing. I went to my senior year. I actually went to the Career and Technology Center in Brownstown, and learned a lot about Photoshop and Illustrator and all those programs. But I graduated and had no idea what I wanted to do. So how'd that work? I got a job in construction, broke my fingers, and then
all of them.
Well, I crushed. Yeah,
the way he's just like all of them at once. I was like, what was he doing?
Skid loader. All the time.
Yeah, they grew back. No, I crushed 2 fingers in a construction accident. A piece of scaffolding fell on them, and it was probably like the best and worst thing that ever happened to me. Because when I came back, I did a bunch of physical therapy, and they were like, when I came back, they were like, we don't think it's your calling to be a construction worker. And I was like, you're probably right about that. that's what the guy told me.
I'm not even going to ask any more details about that.
I was like, yeah, you're probably right. It's not my calling. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. I ended up in Colorado for about 6 months, which was kind of a weird experience. I was an intern at a church for a little while, and some stuff just didn't work out with that. So I moved back, and then a friend of mine worked for a subcontractor to a screen printer, and I said, hey, you got to get me a job at that screen printer because I know how to do it. I did it in high school, which is, I mean, what you learn in high school comparatively to doing it professionally is two completely different things. So I show up for the job interview, and they say, well, what can you do? And I was like, well, I can screen print. And they were like, all right, well, go ahead. And so I kind of lied my way into my first screen printing job. And that guy's actually still in business. He's a good guy, Chris Ruoff. He's a good dude. So I kind of lied my way into my first screen printing job, and I learned a lot at that job. I worked there for about 2 years, just doing everything that came, in 1 color, 8 color, just everything. So that kind of deepened the love. I was like, man, I really like doing T-shirts. This is really cool. And I thought, well, this is like someday I want to start my own business. Like it's just really what I want to do. And then I didn't for a long time. I took another screen printing job at a place where that didn't work out at all. Me and the boss didn't like each other, so that never goes well. And then so I quit that job, and I took a job setting up antique shows all over the country. So I got to travel a bunch and see a bunch of different things and experience life in Maine and New York, and just see what else was out there. So it was really cool.
I like the way I experienced life. Also Maine.
Also Maine.
And New York.
And New York.
They are not considered part of the normal life.
No one there leads real lives.
No. I understand they don't even have cars.
Cars. So, it's funny. So I did that for like 2.5 years. And then I moved back, and I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine, my friend Wendy. She said, I was whining and complaining about I don't know what to do in life. I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to be. Just normal 22-year-old garbage. So I don't know, man. And she was like, listen. She like laid into me. She's like, you talk about starting a business, you talk about doing this and that. Why don't you just pick something and do it? And I was like, oh, there's no truth that hurts more than the truth.
I'm gonna watch Saturday morning cartoons for the rest of my life.
Wow, that one hit home. So it still took a couple years. I took a job at a camp in Maryland, and I was a chef for about 2 years. And in the back of my mind, I was always thinking, man, you should really do that screen printing thing. You should really do that screen printing thing. And I would tell people, they were like, oh, yeah, you're the chef at the camp. I was like, yeah, but I can also print T-shirts, too. And they were like, yeah, whatever. So
those two go hand in hand.
Right, exactly.
If you're going to be a chef, you've got to also know how to print T-shirts. It should be a requirement.
All the big restaurants, you walk in, you can order a lobster and 2 shirts, and you're good.
Do you want your lobster
Rachel Ray,
in the tank?
She's actually a
Do you want your lobster in the tank or this T-shirt that says you ate the lobster that was in the tank?
Oh, man.
So that one hit home, and that was not the first bomb that she dropped on me in my life that got me motivated to do stuff. So she's a good friend, actually. So I ended up working at this camp in Maryland. I was there for about 2 years, and then some circumstances brought me back home to Lancaster. I'm a Lancaster boy. I was born 3 blocks away from here, so I love it here. I love Lancaster. I probably won't move again, I think.
Unless you have to go to Maine again.
Right, Maine or New York. One of those places.
To be a T-shirt printing chef. You can just print T-shirts like Emerald, but instead of saying it, you just say "Bam!"
I'll just be a Renaissance. And not the fair. So I came. There were some circumstances that brought me back home. I was like, yeah, I need to move back home. Some family stuff, whatever. I took a job as doing tech support for a time and attendance company, and I was like, it was way beyond anything that I probably should have been doing anyway, because I was a chef and made T-shirts. Trying to build that resume, maybe I should have stuck in.
I'm seeing a pattern.
Some places that and an antique furniture mover. So that job didn't work out. I was there for about 8 months, and they were like, "Well, we're gonna have to let you go." And I was like, "Well, I don't blame you. I'm terrible at this job." So I did that, and then I got a part-time job. I was working for Apple, and I decided then, I was like, you know what? The next job I get, I'm going to start building, piecing together screen printing equipment, and I'm going to make this happen. So I got a job. Being a property manager at a self-storage company. Again, another weird choice for someone who does all kinds of weird stuff. So I started piecing it together on Craigslist and eBay. I would bargain hunt. There'd be somebody that's like, "Hey, I have this press for $1,000," and I'd call them up and say, "Hey, if I give you $500, would you take it?" And inevitably, somebody would just be so blown away that I'd even ask something that ridiculous. They'd be like, "Well, was it in cash?" I'm like, "Yeah, it sure is, buddy." Cha-ching. $100 bills if you want it. So I drove all over like the tri-state area for like 2 years, just kind of piecing every part of a screen printing shop together, just taking classes, just, refamiliarizing myself, because I had, done so many other weird things that I was like, yeah, I can print T-shirts, but I don't really remember how to do it. So I started taking classes again, really got back into the swing of things. It was a really easy pickup, because I just, I fell in love in 9th grade, so... not with a girl, with screen printing.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I fell in love in 9th grade, but it was with a girl, so...
Oh, yeah.
A little different.
Yeah, see how it ruined your life?
You didn't end up in Maine or New York, did you?
Right. Or a chef printing T-shirts.
Where's your antique furniture mover's license? I don't have one either, don't worry about it. They're like, oh, he's clean shaven, he gets the job. That's kind of how that worked. So I pieced everything together, and then I started taking orders way before I was ready, and probably screwed up the first couple and irritated my first couple of customers. But it was started, and it was great.
You said it took you like 2 years to piece together all of this equipment to get started. How are you keeping yourself motivated? Did you ever get like, oh man, this is just taking forever to get all this stuff together?
Yeah. There were quite a number of times when I thought, maybe I just shouldn't do this. Just sell everything that I have, because I could probably make a little bit of money on the stuff that I already bought. I think
unless somebody calls you up and says, "I'll give you $500."
Exactly.
Don't do it on Craigslist though.
eBay.
The cycle continues.
Right. Some even more shrewd 17-year-olds like, "I'll give you $250 for that stuff." I'm like, "Oh, awesome!
Damn. Oh my god,
this guy's way better than I am." So I think one of the things that kept me motivated was I come from this weird background of doing a lot of different jobs, and I thought I've never really liked working for somebody else. And it was always the goal to just kind of build my own boat, metaphorically. I don't really build boats, but...
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, tag that on the resume. No one will question it.
I build boats. You lied your way into the T-shirt business.
Right, exactly. I will lie my way into boat building. So I... it was a combination of always wanting to work for myself, and I picked up the habit of reading quite a number of books all through the year. I probably read 30 or 40 books a year, and just some of them are really motivating, and just that kind of that. I guess some of the books I was reading were a lot of classical fiction books that were just kind of idealizing the idea of probably independence and freedom and stuff like that, and kind of journeyman, craftsman kind of concepts. And I just I was like, that's really what I want to do. And I really don't want to have somebody constantly, not that bosses are even that bad, like, it's just, it was, for me, it was, I just want to be more independent. I just don't want to have this life where somebody's constantly over me. I think that was kind of the main draw of starting your own business and kind of getting out there and making it work. Because in my running your own business, you get to do all the things. When you have a job, if your main job is to drive a truck and drop off stuff, then you're just going to drive a truck and drop off stuff, and that's a great thing. My dad did it for 18 years, so I have a lot of respect for those people. But that's your job. Mm-hmm. When you run your own business, you're doing the accounting, you're doing the sales, I'm doing the actual printing. I'm doing the cleaning, which I haven't done since that first job, which is really weird for me to do. I'm like, is there some 15-year-old kid I can hire to do this? And I'm like, oh, no, there's not yet. So it's all those things that, and you really can see the project through the entire phase of getting it all done, as opposed to just doing my little section of it, and that's kind of the end of it, and I never get to see the finished product. Or if I do, I can only say that I worked on, widget
one aspect of it.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
Right. Well, I have to back up just slightly before I ask my other question. But you said you don't want to work for the man anymore, but do you still work for the weekend? Because I'm under the perception that everyone works for the weekend.
Yeah,
according to certain songs.
That's right. Everybody is working for the weekend, and what's weird is I still have a job right now. This is kind of my it's a part-time, full-time thing. Like, I mean, it's really just another full-time job on top of what I'm already doing. So my weekends tend to be screen printing, and during the day, I'm a property manager for a storage company, so I have a good amount of time throughout the day to just really think about what I want to do and how I want to get it done for my screen printing business. Because 3 customers in a day it's a long day. So, man, is it ever?
There's all that stuff in there that you have to watch.
You're just like, well, there's your stuff. So I really, I do work for the weekends, but I also have to work on Saturdays too. So eventually I will work for Saturdays and Sundays, and you'll never see me. Be at some island.
We're going to head to break, and afterwards we'll have more with Chris.
Winding Way Books has been a major supporter of us here at the Lancast, and Melody has a great deal that we'd like to share with you.
Right now, with any purchase of $25 or more, you can get a $5 gift card from a number of different Lancaster businesses.
So make sure you take advantage of this great deal and come on down to Winding Way Books, located at 106 West Chestnut Street in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And we're back on the Lancast with Chris Newcomer. Chris, I was joking around before we went to break, but I do have a legitimate question for you, and
Sure.
that is, what kind of equipment did you need? I mean, people talk about screen printing this, screen printing that. Like, is it a lot of equipment? Like, what exactly is
it? It ends up being about 6 or 7 big industrial pieces of equipment. There's about, I'd say there's probably about 7 to 8 steps that you have to go through to actually get to the point where you have a finished product and that you can, present to the customer and say, here, it's done. So it took... That's because I'm a deal hunter, just by nature. Just like if I can get that for a quarter less, I'm gonna feel a lot better about it. So that was part of the 2 years. I was like, well, I'm gonna deal hunt, and I'm also going to just look for stuff that is used and it still works great. I mean, the shop that I have right now, everything is 100% used. It's all from all over Delaware, Maryland. I think I even went up to New York for something as well.
New York.
To New York.
Not the city, just, real New York.
Real New York.
where the real people live.
Right. We're going to offend so many people in New York.
They offend us.
They think they're from Maine or something.
Stinking Yankees. So that was part of the just kind of the experience of, just getting everything together was part of the reason that I kind of wanted to do screen printing. Was kind of just like, I'm going to piece this all together. It's going to be my shop. I'm going to have stuff that I want to have. And it turns out that you have whatever you can get. Is kind of how it all starts off.
So in the business, you what sort of supplies do you use, or where do you get your T-shirts, or what kind of... just to back up on that question, to give you a little bit of background on that question, I had the opportunity. I hung out with Shane Claiborne. Do you guys know who that is? Who that is, yes. I hung out with Shane Claiborne. This is going to sound so hipster. Before he was Shane Claiborne that wrote a book. Gosh, my jeans are not skinny, I promise you. I had the opportunity to hang out with him one night, and we just, because a friend of mine was a youth pastor in Maryland, and we were just kicking it. And he really impressed upon me, hey, sometimes with these clothing manufacturers, they hire 5- and 6-year-olds, pump them full of Ritalin and whatever else to kind of subdue them, to make sure that they just do factory work for hours on end, like 10 to 12 hours a day. And I really wanted to make sure that I wouldn't be involved with something like that. The T-shirts that I use, I get them all from Gildan, which is a company that has it's gone out of its way to make sure that they are regulating themselves. They only hire people that are above 16 years old. They make sure that if the people want to have educational opportunities, that they have them. They go out of the way to pay their people fairly as well. And it's really not it's not as if it doesn't affect my cost that much. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's not so much more expensive that everyone couldn't do it. And if everybody starts doing it, then maybe we can really do some positive change overseas. That I think would be really cool. So that's the reason that I use pretty much exclusively them, that or American Apparel, because I know that they're made in the United States, and those people aren't abused either. I think. That's what they say, and I try. There's people from Los Angeles.
Oh man, another area.
Another area. So now we hate Maine, New York, and Los Angeles.
We'll get to Jersey.
That's a given. It's just kind of. I think everybody hates that.
So with getting all of the shirts, kind of, I don't think they would call themselves fair trade, but that's kind of what it is. With that comes the chemicals that are used in screen printing that are just. The shop that I started in had some of the harshest chemicals. I still have chemical burns from then because I was 22 and didn't really care that much about safety. So I was like, whatever. I'll just go into the dark room and make it happen.
See, I thought that was a tattoo going down your face.
Right. That's that Mike Tyson scar is that's a screen printing war wound. So I knew that when I started my own shop, I thought the eco-friendly kind of chemicals, the soy-based stuff, that's more expensive. I really can't get into that right away. But what I actually found out was, and I found this after I burned myself pretty good, probably one of those things that you should go to the hospital, but I didn't because I'm half an idiot. It's
all the fumes you've been inhaling. Right. It's like, that's okay.
It looks good to me.
Is the bone supposed to be sticking out?
Your arm doesn't bend that way, does it? So I I decided I was like, I burned myself really bad, and I decided I was like, I know that there's other stuff out there. I know that there's stuff that's protect me and is better for everybody. So I found some stuff from a company, from one of my suppliers, and surprisingly to me, that stuff wasn't a whole lot more expensive. I think it's actually maybe even a little bit cheaper now for me to use the stuff that's better for the environment. And I don't burn myself at all. I mean, it can go in kind of goggle free, and no threat of kind of anything like that. And it's just kind of one of those little steps that I think I would like to see in kind of manufacturing, take small steps for everybody and just kind of get everybody on board with that kind of stuff. I think especially if the stuff is economically feasible and easy to do, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't move to an LED bulb or something like that.
Right.
So what's the process like for making a shirt? Like, how long does it take?
Well,
how many do you produce at a time?
The average rate is 80 to 100 shirts an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is just you working?
Yeah.
Or you have,
Is that
exactly.
a single colored shirt too? Or?
Yeah, that's a single color shirt.
Okay.
So it gets a little bit slower the more colors you put on there. Okay. I would say with the equipment, there's some stuff that can make your process really quick, and you can get stuff done really fast. My turnaround time is like between 5 to 10 business days. I can get stuff back to you. The process, it starts by, if you're a client, you come to me, you're like, this is what we want to put on our shirts. It's a unicorn or whatever it is. Or a picture of Delaware.
there's another one.
You just make Pennsylvania an island.
Should. William Penn would be proud. So it starts by the customer just having an idea of what they want on a shirt, whether it be their logo, their company logo, whatever church or organization I'm working with. They generally have an idea of what they want, and generally it's already in some sort of computer form, which actually works out kind of well now. The internet is good stuff for everybody. I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but the internet is actually on computers now.
Wow.
Whoa, what?
I always called it the
It's
interweb.
not just in Delaware.
It's not just a series of tubes anymore, guys.
I understand that they send this thing called electronic mail now too.
I'm gonna get on that list.
You gotta wear gloves because you'll shock yourself.
So, I don't know, what were we talking about?
I don't remember. You were making T-shirts.
Oh, all right, the process, there it is. It's how much fun it is to make T-shirts to me. So, the customer comes with a design. You print out a positive of that design using like Photoshop or Illustrator or CorelDRAW or one of the other expensive programs. So you kind of do that. You print out the film positive, and then you use some photosensitive chemicals on your screens, and then you have a light box that shoots ultraviolet light on that photosensitive film, and then whatever's left on there can be washed out. So whatever you kind of block out with the positive will be what's left on your screen. And then from there, it's a pretty easy process of however many screens you have is how many colors is going to be. So if you have a 2-screen job, it's going to be 2 colors and 3 colors or something like that. And then you just kind of, the press is shaped just like a carousel, and you kind of put your screens on there and spin to whatever color you want, bring it down, print that. And then after you're done, you run it through a dryer. And it's not kind of like the clothing dryer that you might be thinking of. It's more of a conveyor with a heating element that forces heat onto the shirts, and it
sort of heat sets the...
Yeah, it cooks the shirts at like 350 or 400 degrees, so it's fun in the summertime.
Can you use an easy bake oven if you need to do it at home?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't go with Easy Bake, but I think there's some good brands out there.
The creepy crawler maker,
Right.
maybe.
Oh, toys from our youth. We could have a long discussion about Ninja Turtles and Transformers. Trust me. I actually went looking in my parents' basement for my old toys because I was like, these are a gold mine. I couldn't find any. I was like, no.
I think I still have like Optimus Prime's body. His head broke off.
You don't need
Buried in the back.
Say it's a truck. You don't need to transform it into the robot. Trust me.
It's a disappointing robot. It just needs it's a fun truck. It's a disappointing robot. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the process of screen printing, and then generally I deliver everything. I just kind of take it to wherever you guys are at, and then just drop it off, which is good customer service, but it also gets me out of the shop too, which is kind of fun. So I just kind of like doing
so
it.
You can see the sun, and so you don't.
You're
not pale white.
In normal screen printing shops, you don't see the sun. They got to block that out, and you look like you were the fifth member of the Twilight. Which, by the way, is the greatest movie of all time. Have you guys seen this one yet?
No.
Yikes. I want to see Blade come in and kill all the vampires.
We understand you can go in the sun, though. In the Twilight world, you just sparkle.
Oh, yeah, all right. That makes it so much worse. Gosh. They made vampires so uncool.
Oh, the sun.
I sparkle.
I need makeup. Powder.
Yikes.
My skin looks terrible in the sun.
Have you ever been tempted to take a shirt off the cooker and put it on?
I do that all the time. So what happens is, like, I'll be cleaning screens, and I get there's just you do it with a pressure washer, and so my shirt will get soaked, and I just run it through the dryer a couple times, and I'm like, good enough. So I have like the half-dried shirt working with it. Yeah, no. I try not to do anything to the T-shirts at all. There's some stories of screen printers doing crazy stuff to T-shirts. Like,
oh man,
I'm just gonna put them in the box and take them to the customers so they're happy.
Seems like the proper business decision.
Right. Yes, it does.
So you don't like lick them or anything?
No. No.
It smells so nice. Everyone.
Lay in them. We'd have a fresh T-shirts bath.
It is weird to walk around town though, and like, I printed that shirt. Wonder if these people know that I had that one in my hands before.
Do you know that I've held your shirt? Maybe?
Get away from me! I don't really use that one as a pickup line too often. I've had that shirt before.
Have you ever been maced? That's the question.
Do you enjoy the police?
Well, Chris, if somebody wants to learn more about Big Planet Apparel or you, how can they do that?
Well, there's a couple ways. If you give me a call, that's probably the best way. My telephone number is 717-283-6827. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. My website is not up right now, and it's driving me insane. So that will be up in the next I don't know, when is this going to air?
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. So it may be up by the time you're listening to this. Also, you can check us out on Facebook. If you just Facebook/BigPlanetApparel, you can see some of our work is up there. Some of our clients saying good things, and some of our clients saying okay things. And then we're on Twitter as well. Big Planet Tees, because I couldn't get it all on Big Planet Apparel. So BigPlanetTees. Got that right. Almost failed high school, so got to make sure I get spelling correct at this point. So those are the easiest ways to get a hold of me. Any one of those ways, I'll get back to you as soon as I see it. Really, that's how I roll.
Chris, thanks for being with us.
Absolutely, thank you guys. This is great. Love it. Let's do it again.
We hope you've been enjoying the Lancast.
This episode was produced by myself, David Moulton, with show notes by Keith and Lawrence Lesser.
All pertinent links to this episode can be found in the show notes at thelancast.com.
If you specifically liked this episode, we ask that you consider making a donation.
Every little bit helps. Even $1 a show can keep us going.
If you'd like to help support us, you can do so by going to thelancast.com/donate.
And don't forget to subscribe in iTunes and tell a friend about the show.
So, for the Lancast, I'm David Moulton.
And I'm Keith Slesser.
Asking, are you in the cast?